And then we were like saying goodbye to the house. It was like our last goodbye. And I was a hot mess. I was tears. The kids were tears. And it's like, are we doing the right thing? Is this the right decision? It's just a place. If we don't like it, we can always buy another house. We can always come back, and just all of the feels. And I think we had to feel all of them.
Welcome to the More Sunsets Please podcast. My name is Kate, and these are just some of the stories of those who have jumped outside the box and living life on their terms. This is More Sunsets Please. Welcome, Kaylee and Steve, to the More Sunsets Please podcast. I'm excited to have you here.
We're very excited to be on.
Thank you.
So I start every podcast with, where are you located right now? So where are you?
We are in Orlando, Florida, just a hop, a skip, and a jump away from you.
So let's talk a little bit about your story. So you guys were your stock standard, living in a house, two full-time jobs, 2 kids, a dog, all of that. And
all of that.
In 2019, we actually hit the road. Yeah. It took her about a year to actually buy into it. I came home one day and I was like, I think we could do this. And she says, no, I don't think so. So until I made her actually watch some other YouTubers and then all of a sudden she was like, okay, let's do this. But every weekend we were weekend warriors before, and we were out either from Thursday to Sunday, sometimes Wednesday to Sunday, and we were just out. So it made sense for me.
And you, Kaylee?
Yeah, it did. At first I was like, he brought it up and I was like, no, sane people don't do this. We don't work hard and have a house and all this just to get rid of it. But then kind of like slowly meeting people that full time, watching the videos, watching other content creators, it really opened my eyes that sane people do this and you can thrive while both working, homeschooling, traveling. You can do it. And we've been able to do it for the past 3.5 years. And it's the best decision that we've made as a family that I can think of.
Oh, that's amazing. Seeing the sane people do the crazy was the solidifying factor for you?
Yeah, there was like other families did it. It wasn't just retired people or people with no kids. It's like they are in the middle of raising kids and they're thriving and they're doing this. And that was the proof that I needed that this could be an option for us.
Now, you said you dropped the idea in 2018 and it came to fruition in 2019. What did that process look like for you guys, the transition phase?
So like you said, we were avid weekend campers. So we knew we needed a bigger rig and therefore a bigger truck. And so it took us about 6 months to find the right trailer that we wanted. We wanted to stay in a travel trailer because that's what we were used to pulling. And so it took, like, we watched, hundreds of videos. We went to so many dealerships and walked through them. And so it took us quite a while to find the right one. And then once we knew kind of generally the size of what we wanted, then we found a truck and we were able to get that. And so we knew we wanted the kids to finish out their school year. And so that kind of, because I think it was like September-ish when I kind of was like, okay, let's do it. And so we wanted to wait that year, get the right equipment, update the house a little bit before it went on the market. We knew it would sell very quickly, and so we weren't in a rush to get it on the market. And then it did end up going faster than we had thought. So we only had 25 days of closing, where I had anticipated like 45 days. And so we really kind of had to kick it into gear and like figure out summer in Colorado. Camping is very hard to find, especially on the weekends. But we were able to manage it. And then we officially hit the road like September 1st of 2019.
That was the day when you guys left and you hit the road. Yeah. Were you already living in the RV at that point then?
Yeah. So we had moved into the RV in like middle of June. Because again, our house sold faster than we thought. And so we kind of bounced around from state parks, and then we have a home park that we go to. We did make one trip up to North Dakota for me for work. And so that was kind of like that was
our shakedown.
It was like, so our house, we closed on Tuesday. We left Friday to go to North Dakota, and then we were gone for a week and then came back. Yeah. And so it was kind of a shakedown trip.
It was. It was great.
This could, a full-time, like our first full-time trip. But yeah, we didn't officially hit the road until September 1st.
Then where did that take you? Where did you go next?
So we started out west. So we went to the Balloon Fiesta.
New Mexico was pretty sweet.
Yeah, we really enjoyed that. We didn't stay on site. We ended up hitting like a spot 45 minutes away because we were kind of last minute. But that kind of triggered us, was like, oh, we should definitely camp there. There's a lot of people that do that, and it's a thing, right? So we did the Southwest for that winter. So we stayed in Arizona for a month. We did
Oh
Arizona,
gosh.
we did Utah.
Yeah.
And so our first winter was kind of in the western area. With us both working full time, a part of our job, well, really Steve's job, is he has to be back in Colorado for every so often. And he has inventory once a year. So generally, we go back for 6 weeks, typically in the spring, and he does all of his work. And so we're stationary in Colorado for that time. And so that's what we did. And then after that, COVID had hit. Um, and so, like, right when we came back to Colorado. And so we ended up staying in Colorado longer than we had originally wanted to because of COVID and just the uncertainty of where could we go, who's open, who's not. But we left in June of 20, and then we started our kind of summer trail up to Montana and the eastern side of Washington and Oregon.
Wow. Right? Like kind of still in the thick of it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And we strategically went places we knew that were a little less rigid. Also
Mhm.
places that we knew we could be outside and just enjoying it, not like we don't generally go to amusement parks and things like that anyway, like really
Yeah.
crowded areas, but we wanted to be outside and enjoy nature and not just sit in the same campground.
You've kind of covered, I know we haven't got into 2021 and 2022, and now we're in 2023, but you guys have kind of covered the whole of the US at this point, haven't you? Is there any area that you
Close.
haven't
We've
gone
covered
to?
pretty much. Yeah, we've covered all the West and Midwest. We're only missing Minnesota right now,
Yeah.
and then this summer we're planning on doing the whole East Coast,
Yeah, the Northeast is
which is
the
kind of
chunk
what we're missing because I think right now we
Oh,
have what 39 states.
39 or 38 states.
I don't remember
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
and it's all the
We've hit
tiny
Florida
states.
plenty of times.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, that's exciting. The East and the West are so different.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
I can't.
Or-
So far, I like the West more because it's more open.
Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a lot
But
of
it's going to be
history.
the history is going to be kind of like the
Yeah.
tall tale
Yeah.
sign when we hit the East Coast
The
because I
history, and
really
it's
like
just
it.
so green. I,
Yes.
for
Yes.
us being East Coasters,
Yeah.
going to the West was stunning and breathtaking, and there's so much boondocking to do, but you kind of start to miss the green. I don't know how
Yeah.
to explain it, but I miss the green, the lushness of the East Coast.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
There's a lot of, let's just say, dust.
Yeah.
The dirt. That's what we call it. There's a
Dirt.
line in the US of the dirt. You have the
Yeah.
dirt side and the green side.
Yes. Exactly.
That's amazing. So let's back up again to the very beginning. And what sparked the idea to do this? What was your reason? What's your why for jumping into RV life?
Mine was, um, there had to be something better. We were doing the work all week, pick up the kid. Well, really, drop the kids off before school, pick the kids up way after school was done because we were both working, and then in the middle there we had quite a few relatives pass away, and so we were just like, okay, we can't just wait until we're older. There's we got to go and enjoy, and we would take our once a year vacation and go see one place and then come home and then we're back to it. We just spent a lot of time talking about what else would we like to do.
We were already like avid weekend campers,
Yeah.
so the idea of being in a camper for long times or chunks at a time wasn't that difficult to envision for us, just because we've spent so much time in our different RVs that we had. And so, and I grew up camping. My grandparents went full time for a few years, and so the idea wasn't too foreign once I kind of got on board
Yeah.
with it.
And I would rather drive everywhere than fly. I don't know. You get to see more of the country.
Well,
That's another big
yeah.
reason.
Well, and like you work so hard, like, you're both working full time. The kids are in sports and activities, so you don't have a lot of freedom to go and do the things. So it's like you get your 1 week a year, which costs an arm and a leg because you have to fly somewhere, you got to have a hotel, you have to get a car. Like, just the sheer cost of all of that was like, it was daunting. And that's why I think another reason we came into the RVing world is like, we can still go see these cool things at a fraction of the cost. And so it worked out really well. And that's what I love about this lifestyle is we get to be in really cool locations and we can still work, we can still homeschool, but at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon, we can go and explore because we've done our things because we're already there. It's not a plane and a rental car and all of that away.
Yeah. You don't have to earmark a big chunk of time to go see something. You can just earmark the afternoon. Probably one of the biggest perks of this lifestyle. You're already there. You're already in the cool
Yes.
spot, and then you just do your day to day and then get out and explore that really cool spot. And then you get to
Yeah.
say, I lived in that cool spot for that week.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Along this whole journey, what has been some of the biggest highs and lows that you've had? Let's obviously start with the lows. And how did you get through them?
Two things come to mind. Number one, our first year was extremely lonely. So we moved so quick. We moved on average every 4 days. And that's a lot with schooling and working and everything. And so we didn't meet a lot of people. And so about 6 months into our first year, everyone was like, something's got to change. Like, we can't, this is not sustainable financially. It's not sustainable for emotional, like anything. And so we had to slow it down. And once we slowed it down, we joined different groups, like full-time families, and we had started staying at some of the Thousand Trails Park. We were able to actually to connect and make community in person. So I'd made some online, but really that in-person connection for our kids to go and play was huge, and that's made it more sustainable for us. And then the second one, I think kind of the second low, was last year. We had some big slide issues, and it slowed us down, and we were very uncertain if it could actually be fixed. Spoiler alert, it got fixed. It's fine. But it was frustrating because it's your home, and every time you bring in a slide or bring it out, it could cause damage, which costs more and takes more time to fix. And so we ended up finding a really good RV repair shop, and we'll forever go to them for any needs that we have.
Yeah.
But it was a very challenging part of last year.
My biggest low was our first year also, when we left Florida and we realized how much money we had spent.
Oh.
So we had several conversations about that also. As we're like, okay, are we doing this for a lifetime, or are we doing this for vacation for a year and then we're going back to Colorado? So I mean, that was probably one of the biggest things, is like, we just had to realize this isn't a vacation. We can make a note of what we haven't seen and come back. We don't have to do everything at the same time while we're there. We can kind of move on and come back, because there's not many places in this country that I wouldn't go back to.
It's so true, especially moving fast, like you said you were doing in that first year. The faster you move, the more money it costs. And then you also have that feeling of urgency constantly of, I need to get all the things done because we're only here for X amount of days, versus we're staying for a week or 2 or 3 or 4, however your pace is. You can take your time and explore and really delve into the things that you want to see, and then make note of either new discoveries or things you want to come back for. That's a really good point.
Yeah. And I don't think we said it at first, but our plan was only to do this for a year. That's what we pretty much told each other works, and we're still on the road and we're still working for the same company. So I guess it's working out.
I think that comes up so often. We only planned to do this for a little while. For us, it was only supposed to be 6 months. It's just supposed to be a transition.
Yeah.
Right.
But now we can't find one place to settle down at either. So.
Well, yeah, we definitely can't agree on that.
Oh my goodness. How do you decide? There's so many perks to each and every place. Each and every state has perks. Even the states people claim they don't like, there's some pretty awesome perks in those states, and the things you can see and do. Woo. Yeah. All right. What about some of your highs?
I think, like, just some of the locations. Like, so we were not hikers at all. And so with this lifestyle, we've kind of picked that up. And so it's really fun to just go into these national parks and to go on these really cool hikes. And it's like, you see them, they're like Instagram worthy. Like, you just look at it, you're like, this is so beautiful, and I'm actually here. Like, we would have never done that.
No.
And so just to kind of experience just a change in all of us is like, oh yeah, we want to be more outdoorsy. We want to go do these types of things and be outside. And we do like to be outside. So whether it's the beach or at the mountains, at a lake, whatever we can do, just being outside is really important. And so just seeing all the different types of scenery that this country has to offer, it's breathtaking, and it's beautiful.
I think it's just meeting all the different people now. Yes, the sceneries and all that are great, but the people that you meet while you're on the roads is great. I think the community is awesome. Everyone's friendly. They're willing to help. if you have issues, they're willing to help, and you're willing to help other people. So it's great, along with doing all the hikes and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we did live in Colorado, so we did get to see lush trees and everything else. So that was kind of a. Now I get to see oceans.
But we never went to the mountains.
We never did.
Because it's so crowded.
We never did.
So we just never go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we're more intentional since
We're
we
very
are
more
traveling, we're
intentional.
definitely more intentional.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's an assumption that we make when we live in an area that has all the touristy amenities that I'll get there one day. It's right there.
Mhm.
I live here. It's right there. I'll go there one day. But I'm too busy with whatever. Because we were the same. We had all the things that people go into Ontario to go see, and
Yep.
it was right there. And we never went to see them. So now we're very intentional when we traveled to make sure that we saw the things
Yep.
and explore.
Yep. Like even when we go back to Colorado, we don't get to see those things
We've done more
because we spend more time with family.
Yeah, we do tend to focus.
So it's kind of like,
But that's also being intentional.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you want to go to the mountains during the summer in Colorado, it's at least a 4 to 5 hour trip.
Right.
Just because of traffic. So it's like you gotta like carve your time out.
It's like if you want to go anywhere in Florida.
Yep. Yep.
Give yourself lots of time.
Yeah. Costco yesterday's 2 hours.
Oh, I know. But it's Costco.
Yeah. I was there yesterday too. It was brutal.
Oh.
It's true. And just like you look on the map and you're like, it's right there. It's only
It's 12 miles.
This far away,
12
but you have to go this far around because of all the lakes and the waters and
Right.
Yeah, I'm buying a helicopter.
So where along this journey did you guys hit a moment that was just, wow, I can't believe this is our life?
So we actually went to the beach this past weekend, and it was kind of like I had it planned out far in advance because we were going to meet up with my sister because they're so busy, and so we have to kind of like schedule things out. And so she lives here in Florida, and so I was like, we're going to go to the beach on this day. It's like, okay, great. So then I invited some friends along, kind of last minute. I was like, hey, we're going to go to the beach on Saturday. You want to go? And everyone was like, yes. Everyone gave like this, heck yes, let's do it. Let's make it work. And then my sister had texted me. She's like, I can't make it. I'm too busy. I was like, oh. So I was like, oh, at least I get to hang out with friends. And then we get to the beach, and she ends up texting us, and she's like, hey, just kidding. We rearranged, so we're coming. So all of that to say is I was able to coordinate just being with friends for an entire day at the beach with very little planning. And my sister was too busy, but then realized we're not around that much. And so she rearranged her stuff so she could be with us. So I just felt really loved and just really loved that they would all take that time out of their days to just come and hang out with us and be at the beach and just have fun and let the kids play. And it was, I don't know, it was kind of just like this aha moment because back at home, like we had a good group of friends, but you always had to plan things so far in advance. So you kind of lose that excitement of like last minute, like, yeah, let's do it.
Like I just enjoy like everyone that we meet. So I just like being around them.
You're the people person.
Yeah.
It is. Do you know his nickname?
Oh, let's not say that.
I'm gonna say it.
No, we can't do that.
We call him the camp because he goes and talks to everybody.
She's got to edit all this
She
out
might have
now.
to edit
She's
it out.
done.
That's what her nickname
She's
is.
done.
That's what everybody knows it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yep. I can understand that. I'm married to one too.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah. But that's good. I know at home, Mike was not that person. He was the one that would keep to himself, right? Like he really just did his own thing where I was the go, 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 plan, all the things. Then we hit the road and he's the go, 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 social person. And I turned into like a hermit because it's like social overload a lot. It's very different how this brings out different things in each person.
I've always kind of been the social butterfly, though.
Yeah.
Have you?
You have.
Oh yeah.
Did you think of a why during all of that? Or not that why, your wow?
No, I didn't.
No?
No, I think my wow moment is just everyone's a little bit more intentional. Like you invite them somewhere they want to go. We were at the Hershey, Pennsylvania show, the RV show. And one night, I think all the ladies went out, so I said, "Hey guys, just come over for football." And most of them never watch football. I don't know why, but they don't. But they all came over, and the kids ran around, and just hanging out. It's just that moment that you're like, all right, well, that's just what our lifestyle is to be able to hang out, have good conversations, and be honest with everyone.
And you get really good, deep, quality conversations
You
right
do.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, because you never know when you're going to see someone again.
Yes. There's no, so what's the weather like? I wonder what the weather is
Yeah.
today. Did you
Yeah.
see this gossipy thing? Did you see that gossipy thing? No, it's like
Yep.
good quality conversations.
Right. You almost, yeah, because I think since you are limited on time, it's like we just got to dive in deep. Like, are you my people or are you not my people? Like, are we going to mesh or not mesh? We're just going to get over the formalities and just dive in.
Yeah.
So,
Rip off that Band-Aid.
yeah, and everyone's craving it, right? Like,
Yes.
everybody, that's partially why people get on the road is they crave the community. They crave being with each other and talking with each other. And
Yeah.
so it just kind of naturally flows out.
That is good. And then, okay, so we didn't even touch at the very beginning. Normally I say who's all a part of this journey, and then
Oh, yeah.
we talk about stuff.
Yeah.
So let's go back. Who all is a part of your journey?
Steve and I, and then we have 2 kids, Jeremiah and Addie. They're 10 and 12, and then we have a 10-year-old dog named Diesel. And so we had started our journey with 2 dogs. Sadly, we had to put one down right before we hit the road. But it has been interesting traveling with a large dog because a lot of people have kind of smaller dogs. So just Diesel being a bigger dog is a little bit different, not challenging for us. He's 10, he lays around most of the time, but definitely different with traveling with a dog.
Yeah. I think if we did do this life over again, I don't know if I would have a pet.
Yeah.
I think
There's days I get that actually.
Yeah. Because it leaves you tied a lot. You have time constraints. So when you find something amazing and awesome, you still have to be back. You still have that responsibility to be back and check on your pets.
TTO is a different monster.
Yeah, TTO's a little rough.
Yeah. That's a big reason why we stay over here. Because
Yeah.
we're just, again, anti-social, social me. I'm a weird one. I'm just weird.
Ah!
Very weird.
Kate, I'm the
But-
same. I got my moments. I tend to be inside all the time working. It's like, okay. And then you come out, it's like, okay, I only come out when I want to.
Yeah. Okay, so your children, how have they adjusted to this? And they were old enough to know life before full-time RV
Oh yeah.
and life in RV. How have they adjusted and how do they find this life?
Yeah, they actually really enjoy it. They were probably one of the first ones that are like, we want to keep doing this. And we all, of course, had a transition when we first moved into the rig because, and I wouldn't recommend the way we did it, was we moved into the travel trailer, and then when we hit the road like full timing, we also started homeschooling at the same time, and we were not homeschoolers before, and so it was awful. Like, tears on both sides. Like, they were crying, I was crying. Like, it was just awful. And I wish we would have done it a little differently. I don't know how differently, but those first 6 months were just rough with moving so much, trying to do the home, like, it just was so hard. And so, but once we kind of figured out the whole homeschooling thing, we slowed down, it all started to kind of fall into place. And so our kids have really blossomed in this lifestyle. Jeremiah was very shy, and he tends to be a little bit introvert, but we'll come up to campgrounds, we'll pull in, and he goes, I'm going to go find friends, Mom. And it's like, okay, like he would have never done that in our Sticks and Bricks home. And so they've really just blossomed into these cool kids that meet so many other kids and have friends across the country, and they love it. They love going out and exploring, but they like having their routines and everything inside is the same. We sleep in the same spot. We eat generally kind of the same food. Like, so,
yes, we do.
that routine is very important for them. And then the rest of it's kind of fun, and they get to go out and make friends and have all that.
Yeah. And then, sorry, the same food thing. It's still your Sticks and Bricks, just on wheels. So we still have the same food, the same meals.
Yeah, it's weird, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I know. I try and meal plan sometimes just to get out of the, okay, what are we making for dinner? But, it's still our house.
It doesn't.
We still forget to take stuff out of the freezer and plan ahead. So it's a pasta night again.
You're like,
we do that all the time.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, goodness. Now, how has this worked for you two as a married couple? How has this transitioned for you?
Oh, geez. Yeah, let me go first.
Yeah,
Dig a hole here, and then we'll move on.
and we'll fill
No,
it back in.
I think it's actually been really good. When you only live in 300, 400 square feet, you can't just ignore each other.
Right.
You just can't, have a fight and just let it go. You have to talk it out. You have to work it out. You have to keep on working on it. And I think that's one of the big issues or big things that we learned before we went full time, really. And we were doing it every weekend, and she was helping me back into spots. And so, I mean, we still act like newbies sometimes when we're backing in, but overall, it, communication is key, and it's great marriage counseling. Just back in a fifth wheel and see where your communication's at.
I agree, baby. Yeah.
No hole dug.
Don't have you move over the fifth wheel 3 inches after you've already parked.
That's my favorite. I'm like, we're just gonna shimmy over a little more. I'm like, no, we're not.
No, I think we're good here.
I'm like, you're here. I want you here.
Yeah.
Can you bring the nose over just a little bit?
And how about for you, Kaylee?
Yeah, no, I think it's been really good. Our communication had to get better, just because we're like before in Sticks and Bricks, it's like you work, 9 or 10 hours a day. You come home, you make dinner, you watch a show, and you go to bed. Like you just don't have a lot of that time to really talk or communicate with that. And so being in this lifestyle, we have more time. He works up in the bedroom, I work down in the living room, and so like the kids have to kind of sometimes balance in between us or go outside, and so you just have to get better at communicating, and I think it's made us stronger. But also I feel when I finally agreed to do this and we actually came through with it, I remember that first New Year's we were walking around like, oh, what are you grateful for this year? And I was like, that we actually did a plan, like full on committed together. Because we hadn't really ever, like, we got married, we've done things together, but not such a big life altering thing together. Still together, still love each other. Like, it's like, whoa, we did it.
It's true. And I think others have echoed the fact that you feel like you're one married couple when you were in the Sticks and Bricks, and now you're a different married couple in this RV lifestyle. And you're still married. So you know it's a good marriage.
Yep.
Still
Twice over.
Right.
So how did you know that you guys were on the right path, that this was the right decision for you?
I think the family was happier in it all. Like the kids would actually speak up. Like when we were moving every 3 to 4 days, they finally spoke up. After like 2 months, was it?
Yeah,
2 or
maybe
3
a little,
months.
yeah.
They're like, "Can we slow down? Can we stay a week somewhere? This is going too fast. I'm not enjoying it now." And we had to have a serious family conversation, and that was 3 years ago. So they were how old?
6 and 8.
Yeah. So I mean, a 6 and 8-year-old was like, "Hey guys, come on, come on, let's talk this out." I was like, "Oh, okay, let's do that." It helped too that we were headed to Florida for winter that first year. Like, okay, well, we can do a week here. That helped out a ton because I think Jeremiah was the one who was kind of more like, "I'm getting burnt out, guys.
Yeah.
I'm getting burnt out here.
Yeah.
3 to 4 days. I meet a new kid and I'm gone the next day." Yeah, and he's kind of like he was more of our introverted kid, anyways. So, introverted, and he became extroverted once we hit the road. And then we hampered it by moving so quickly.
But then you knew that his personality was changing, his social personality was changing, which is so cool to see.
And it was nice that he was speaking up about it.
I would say we have frequent conversations even now, like, where's everybody's feelings on this? Like, we're about to start on our next, like the spring summer path. And so it's like, we're about to hit the road again. Like is everybody okay with this? Like, we're just having those conversations of like, what do you want? Like, we kind of talk about like where we're going, and then it's like, Addie, what are the 2 things you want to do this summer? And she's like, I want to go see a concert and I want to go to a water park. It's like, okay, we can fit that in, and so it's good to have those conversations and keep the lines open. And they talk about like, when we settle down, whenever that happens, Addie wants a horse. So she's like, oh, when we want land because we want a horse and all this stuff. So it's kind of fun that they're like, well, we're not ready yet. We're all kind of at least on the same page for now.
Yeah.
That's really good. And that's kind of fun that you guys say, okay, this is our general direction. And what are your goals here on this route? Because that keeps them enticed and excited and to have a say, but they don't have control. They just have a say. But that's
Right.
Right.
Now, before you left, was there any fears or challenges you guys had before making this transition? I know for you, it's a little different because you were already weekend warriors, but to know that now you're going full time.
Yes.
And how did you
So-
work through them?
I know, right. And so I remember we had closed on the house. The kids were at VBS, and so we had dropped them off VBS, closed on the house. We went and picked them up from VBS, and then we were like saying goodbye to the house. It was like our last, like, goodbye. And I was a hot mess.
You and the kids were a hot mess.
I was tears. The kids were tears, and it's like, are we doing the right thing? Is this the right decision? Like it's just a place. If we don't like it, we can always buy another house. We can always come back. And just all of the feels. And I think we had to feel all of them, talk through it, and then it wasn't an immediate shift. It took a while to be like, I think it was about 6 months in, I was like, yes, we made the right decision. Like, it was fun to move around and travel and everything. We did struggle with the homeschooling, so that was a little bit hard. Balancing like how we work remote, and all that was, had its challenges, but it was like, yeah, like little wins along the way.
Yeah.
But then it was about 6 months and it was like, yes, we made the right decisions, because like the kids really started to come to life and they really started to enjoy where we were going. They were looking forward to the things we were doing, and they could start to see like, oh yeah, this is why we're doing this lifestyle, to be with each other, to see awesome places, and still provide and be a wholesome family, and still be a good family unit.
What about for you, Steve?
I agree.
So you had the same challenges? You were crying over that?
I didn't mind it. I don't think that was a challenge for me. I think it was easier for me than really the three of them. I was just ready to go experience something different. I don't know. I didn't have a real big challenge in that part.
No.
I think I was only worried more about, I knew we would make it, at least our year. I didn't know we would surpass it.
So we were like a year and a half into it, and so that was kind of like right at the tail end of like when COVID kind of started loosening up again in 20. And so it was like, well, if we're going to commit to this lifestyle, we're going to do it more than a year, we need to get a different rig, because the kids wanted separate sleeping areas. And so so it was like finding we're gonna dive in, get a fifth wheel, and so we finally were like, okay, we're gonna do this, and we had found the one we liked. It was difficult to find because of COVID, but we did end up finding it about a year after we saw it at the Tampa RV show, and then we finally bought it almost a year later. But it was like, wait, we're gonna really invest a lot of money into this, and like, are we like, is this really what we want to do? And so again, family conversation. Is this what you want? Yes. Everybody agrees. This is where we're going. And so once we kind of committed on that, it was like, okay, like I feel comfortable saying we have no end date in mind.
Yeah.
I don't know where we would end up. But we feel very comfortable in the RV that we have, the way that we're doing this lifestyle. And it's working really well for us. So it's nice to be in that comfort zone of like, yes, we're very comfortable here.
She kind of ran right through that story, but it was more entertaining than that.
Oh, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's hear. What's that?
I think it was more entertaining on my level, because I was actually back in Colorado. I went back because my boss asked me, and I was staying with her mom and one of her sisters, and she had called me the day before I was supposed to fly out.
It was a Thursday.
Yeah, it was a Thursday, and she goes, hey, they have the model here in St. George, Utah. And I called the guy, and they have it on the lot. I said, well, I fly back Friday night. Just tell them that we'll come look at it Saturday. It's no big deal. We go Saturday, and I swear we sat in that trailer for 2 hours.
We did.
It was at least 2 hours.
That's
talking and letting the kids like get the feels for it. Literally sat there talking about it, walking around the rig. I don't know. I think that was the most time that we ever spent on a purchase.
Yeah.
Of a trailer. Yeah. Most of the time we would show up, we'd look at it, we'd walk around it. Okay, we were done in 10 minutes, and
that's the one.
That's what we did. But this one, like, we literally that conversation happened in the rig that we have now. So it's a little bit more entertaining than just saying, oh yeah, we found this.
Well, yeah.
So yeah,
That's fun though, because then you got to create those little memories.
and listen to the sales guy try to tell us about a rig that we'd already researched. Was
That's always my favorite when you go
yeah,
and they have no idea that you've already looked at all the ins and outs. You know every single holding tank. You know where all the things
yeah,
are. You know, like
yeah, and the stuff that we didn't know, they couldn't tell us anyways.
Right, they weren't
So
very, yeah.
that's why there's YouTube.
Right.
that's right. So you did actually just touch on that you have no end date in sight. But what does the general future look like for you guys? I know you're going East Coast this year, and then what?
So I think my personal goal is to get all lower 48 states in. I still want to go to Alaska. I don't know when that will happen, but so I feel after this year we'll have all the states but one. We won't have Minnesota. And so I feel once after we have that, we can kind of have a better discussion of like, okay, we've kind of met our goal, or at least my goal of this, and like, do we want to get something? But we will not get a large house again. I ideally would love to have multiple locations. Like I'd love to have a beach house. I'd love to have something in Montana, small things that we can rent out or park the trailer next to and have hookups. But there's no place in this country that I want to be all year long. We need like a summer spot, a winter spot, and they'll probably could be small. They could be a condo. I don't know.
There's so many that have had the same sentiment and will say they're just going to buy like an acre here and an acre there and an acre here and just put hookups on it. And then
Right.
Airbnb the spot out. So you can rent, what's the like a spot tonight type thing? I can't think of what the other one
Yeah.
is, the dirt or something like that, where you can rent out your
Yeah,
spot
yeah.
because you're not there. But it's
Yeah.
so low overhead versus an actual structure. So, and then you get a home everywhere.
We differ on what we want after we get the 48 done. Yeah, I just want like RV spots all over the country.
Yes.
I don't want to buy any structures.
And you want the structures.
It might be nice to have like a dishwasher, a laundry, like might be nice.
Luxury, no.
I can understand where you're both coming from. So lots of RV spots and at least one structure.
Yeah, I think we could absolutely meet in the middle. And we've talked about even getting a campground. So, like the world is our oyster. We have no idea.
I know. And that's the best part is you don't, I said to so many last year that I am committed to being non-committal because our plans can keep changing all the time. Our wants can keep changing all the time. And they can because you're not committed to anything. And you don't have to be committed to anything until you want to be.
Right, exactly.
Which sounds so roundabout, but it's true. And that's probably the biggest perk of this is you don't have to be committed to anything. And just explore, go see things, and keep changing your mind. Okay, so you guys have done, what did you say, 30-something states?
I think 39-ish.
39.
Yeah,
39. Where has been your favorite spot?
So I like to answer this one because I think I can answer for both of us. We love Gulf Shores, Alabama. We love the beach and the beachy vibes. We love the Gulf. So Gulf Shores is probably on our top. I love Kalispell, Montana, outside of Glacier. Glacier is my favorite national park that we've been to so far. So I love just Montana's really pretty in the summer. And then we also love the desert. So Sedona ranks right up there where we like
Havasu.
Lake Havasu. Yeah, Lake Havasu, Sedona. We do really enjoy the desert in the winter. So maybe that's our plan. Maybe we'll have Montana, Lake Havasu, Gulf Shores. We need something on the East Coast to kind of
Stay tuned, more to come.
That's right, because now you got to explore the East Coast and find out where you live there.
Yeah.
Right.
Just saying, New York might be a surprise for you guys.
It could be, yeah.
I've heard it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm not staying there though.
It's a whole other country in northern New York.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
We will spend some time up there this summer for sure. So
Now, do you have any plans? You said you talked about Alaska. Do you have any plans to explore Canada or go to Mexico?
yeah, well, like I think when we go to Canada or when we go to Arizona or when we go to Alaska, we'll do some part of Canada. Baja sounds fun. but not in this rig. It's too big. We'd have to get something smaller. And same thing for Alaska. We wouldn't take our 40-foot fifth wheel up to Alaska. So we have to, there's a lot of planning. And also for work with the time zone changes, and you don't always have internet. Like, we'd have to really, like, Alaska's going to have to be very, very planned out, very thought through.
We might have to actually get Starlink.
Yeah.
You've avoided it this far.
Mm-hmm.
I know. I feel like we're one of the few that doesn't have Starlink.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't justify it with these two being so cheap, and they're still redundant, so we have all the internet coverage we need. So
and it works.
And it works. So
that's right. So your favorite spots are kind of all over. I love that you said Gulf Shores because it's something so simple, but man, is it beautiful. Did you stay at the state park, like Gulf Shores State Park?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I could stay there all the time. It was so good.
Yeah.
And the biking is amazing. That beach is amazing. That's a good one. Oh, you guys are going to have so many waterfronts that are going to be up against that over the next season. Because that's probably the best part of the whole East Coast is as soon as you leave Florida, there's no gators in the water. So you can actually enjoy all the waters that you see.
I don't mind the gators.
You
Gator
just
bites.
jump in and swim.
Right. You gotta be
The whole purpose of this podcast is somebody out there is probably sitting in your shoes. They're a couple married, working full time, and want to get out there and do this, but aren't sure how. What words of wisdom or inspiration would you have for them to just get out there and make this life change?
We've met so many people that just jump into RVing without actually experiencing it. They're crazy. So my big advice is if you're interested in this, buy an RV or rent an RV, do something and go out a few times and see if you can actually, see yourself in a small space with your kids, with your spouse, and doing the hookup and the driving and all, going to the grocery store, doing all of those things and seeing if it's something that you want. And then if it is, then I say dive in fully. So you have to be financially smart about it. So whether you sell your house or you rent it out or whatever it is, I think if you want to do it financially smart, and then just commit to it.
No, I think, you definitely have to do your research. Mm-hmm. It really does, because we've talked to people that have switched bought 3 rigs in a year because they're not happy with them.
That's insane. Like, I know there's no perfect rig out there, but to switch 3 times in a year, that's a lot of money down the drain.
2 to 3 times in a year with different trucks. Okay, well, maybe you should have done a little bit more research.
Yeah.
Right.
I would say go to the shows. Mm-hmm. The shows are great because you can go look at everything. And you can sit in them for hours if you want to, like we did. It doesn't matter.
All right, so do your research. Don't just jump in and be crazy like we did.
Right. I know. There's 2 people in this world. We are the other people.
Yeah. No, we had never owned one. I had never towed in my life. Even with my commercial license, I had never towed. I just drove big thing. When we drove it home from our purchase, that was my first towing experience ever. And that was our first backing experience into our driveway ever.
I'm getting my heart rate's going up just thinking about that.
And we're still married. Oh gosh, it's so true because some do say they're just like, just jump, just do it, just go for it. And others are, well, figure out if you're even going to like it. Because if you just, weekending isn't always the same, as you guys know, because you still know you have some respite going back to your house.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. And we've met both sides. So
yeah.
It really does, we've met people that were like, we bought something, we went out for a month and then came back and sold the house. And then there's other people who I went back and I figured out weekends were great for us. And that was, you got to find what's right for you.
Yeah. And that's still RV life. Weekending is still RV life. It doesn't have to be full time. You don't have to sell your house.
Right.
You can still long time and then go back to your house, and then long time travel and go back to your house. And I think that would still get a lot of benefits out of this lifestyle. So if you guys could go back and change one thing, what would you change? What would you do different?
Try not start out so fast.
Like moving.
Keep a good pace. Because I think we did all get burned out at that point.
Yeah.
At one point or another. That was my biggest, enjoy it. How about you?
Yeah, I think, like looking back on our first year, I think it's definitely the moving too fast, and treating it like it's a vacation. when you're on vacation, you're like, yeah, let's go out to eat 6 nights a week and let's get all the trinkets and go to the museum and do all this stuff. And like that all adds up so much. And so, yeah, I think I would agree.
I loved when you were putting out the summaries, the monthly summaries of how much
I
this
did
life
too.
costs. I
Yeah.
know how much work goes into that because I tried it, and that's a lot of work to keep track of all of that. But it shows that your costs can be very similar living in the RV as living in a house. They could be more, but they could also be less. So I really
Yeah.
Yep.
liked that breakdown.
Yeah, and we're doing those again because we've had a lot of people reach out about it. I think it's important to see that, like, there's a million ways to do it expensive. There's a million ways to do it cheaper. I think we're kind of in the middle. And that's really important information, especially for those that are interested in getting into this lifestyle. It's like, oh my gosh, am I actually going to save money or am I not? Like, what does it really look like? And so, in some months are better than others. But just being transparent about that has helped. And I've seen since we started sharing those, a lot of others have started sharing that information too. So it kind of gives you a good like layout of what does it actually cost, for a family of 2, or with a bunch of kids or little kids or bigger kids. So all of
Yep.
those costs can vary.
Yep. And how you travel. Because, like you guys, when you said at the beginning, when you're traveling fast, the costs really go up. When you're traveling like
Oh,
to vacation, the costs really go up. But even if you're traveling slow, the costs can still go up, right? Because if people decide to stay somewhere for 3 weeks, that can be really expensive. I'm excited you're bringing that back. That's great.
Yeah.
So, if anybody's looking to find that information or find you guys, where can they find you?
Yeah, so we are exploring outside the 303. We are on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and we have our website, exploringoutside303.com.
Perfect. I will add all of that to the show notes so somebody can connect with you if they need to. And I really appreciate this conversation. You guys, this was a great conversation. I thank you so much for it.
Thanks,
I
Kate.
love chatting with you.
Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying these stories, please leave us a review as it helps our podcast reach more listeners. For more information about this podcast, with show notes, links, and more, please go to our website, moresunsetsplease.com. If you know of someone with a great story, send an email to info@moresunsetsplease.com, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Until next time, keep taking time to enjoy more sunsets, please.